Shalom, Kol Halal Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000, the tabernacle of David that are to rule in the kingdom of heaven here on earth, all right, on earth as it is in heaven. The laws of heaven will finally be implemented on earth over all the nations, and those judges will be the 12 tribes of Israel. 144,000, 12,000 men out of each of the 12 tribes of Israel, led by King David and authorized by who the world falsely and fraudulently called JC. His name is Yahushai. All right, that's the Hebrew way of saying he and Savior. He saves, or he Savior, Yahushai. All right, and to the rest of the scattered elect, the scattered Israelites that are scattered around the four corners of the earth among the Gentile nations who have the appearance of the Gentile nations that he's going to bring back from out of those places where they're scattered to. And to the few Akwaf, meaning the sisters that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. I got a bunch of videos lined up, and I'm just going to do this one with these two today. As you can see, the titles of the videos are at the bottom left part of the screen. All right. This first one is from Midas Touch. Trump in panic as Navy Admiral suddenly quits. All right. And I'm going to read a scripture first. 2 Ezra 15 and 16. And it reads, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes." They're having a No Kings Day this weekend. And all the people who are exercising their First Amendment right to speak in protest of what they think is wrong are being labeled terrorists. It says, "They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power."
Turmoil and chaos taking place in the United States military right now, as yet another top commander has suddenly resigned. This time, the top commander in Latin America, Alvin Halsey, suddenly quit less than 1 year into his tenure as the head of Southern Command, the individual in charge of the United States Navy in Latin America. Apparently, this resignation comes based on his strong opposition to the Trump regime's war crimes taking place off the coast in Venezuela and Colombia, where the Trump regime continued to demand unlawful orders be carried out in the form of blowing up these fishing boats off the coast of Venezuela and Colombia as well. Here's the reporting. 4-star Admiral Alvin Halsey, head of Southern Command, stepping down after less than a year in his position. One of the U.S. officials said that Admiral Halsey had raised concerns about the mission and the attacks on alleged drug boats. The reporting from CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, and others is as follows. Tensions were simmering between Secretary of Defense, who unlawfully refers to himself as Secretary of War, former Fox News host Pete Hegseth, and Halsey for weeks. Hegseth did not believe that Halsey was moving quickly and aggressively enough to combat drug traffickers in the Caribbean and complained about not being given info he needed about ops per sources. But Southcom, which is what Alvin Halsey, Admiral Halsey led, was concerned about the operations not being lawful. In other words, that war crimes were being committed, and Admiral Halsey did not want to be a part of these war crimes. I can't emphasize enough how unusual a resignation like this is, and I think it demonstrates what I think will soon take place with mass resignations amongst the top admirals and generals. We've seen others quitting as well. More on that in a moment. As Phil says, U.S. Admiralty was born after the Civil War. A 4-star admiral quitting mid-operation, the way Halsey just did, is a rupture of that order. Halsey's exit amid lethal Caribbean strikes is a 5-alarm warning. Trump and Hegseth are pushing unlawful orders and driving commanders out. The admirals' revolt has begun. The
law of the land. And it's from the Black's Law Dictionary. Okay, which every American citizen is supposed to uphold, especially the president and every sworn peace officer, every sworn in military individual, from a private all the way up to a general, right? And Navy admirals are supposed to uphold the law of the land, and actually are supposed to apprehend, stop, arrest, right, or defend the law of the land against both foreign and domestic. So when you have leaders that are giving orders that go against the law of the land and committing war crimes, well, those people are supposed to be apprehended by the powers that be. All right? Law of the land. So not only are they doing it on the high seas, but they're doing it on the homeland too, with ICE operating as a personal army and Gestapo. And they're typically getting them from red states to attack and snatch up people from blue states. It's like the Civil War has already started. And we're going to play another video that talks about that. But here's a receipt for law of the land out of the Black's Law Dictionary. Okay? It says law of the land. The general misconception is that any statute passed by legislators, like what Trump just did, and many presidents before him, bearing the appearance of law, like Title 4D child support, that goes against the law of the land. It has the appearance of law. It's called the color of law. Look that up. Having the appearance of law constitutes the law of the land. The U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. Hold on. And any statute or code, like Title 4D, for example, or whatever code that or statute that Trump has passed, whatever the number it is, that's allowing ICE to operate or these strikes to be done on these boats. The U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and any statute to be valid must be in agreement. It is impossible for a law which violates the Constitution to be valid. This is succinctly stated as follows. All laws are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. So if any president, any war secretary or secretary of war that gives an order that is repugnant to the Constitution is null and void. Therefore, it is illegal. And I knew that this would cause the eventual, because the Bible says so. So the sedition is starting. The Civil War has already started. Jacob Trouble is on. ICE is basically has started this Civil War with the red against the blue. Right? It has. It hasn't gone full blown yet, but it's there. All right? And it turns out that it was a Trinidadian family of fishermen. So apparently the Navy has, under the orders of Donald Trump, under the unlawful order of Donald Trump and the unlawful order of Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, they murdered a family of Trinidadians from Trinidad, fishermen. Not Trinidadian drug runners, but Trinidadian fishermen. And I hope that they sue them individually. Because unfortunately, they'll probably, probably try to sue, And the taxpayers will end up paying for this. All right, but I hope that they sue Pete and Donald Trump personally for every goddamn thing that they have. All right. And here's the reason why this man didn't want to have a part of this or anything to do with it. This is Political Voices Network. All right. Malcolm Nance's disturbing Trump prediction that sadly is coming true. And, you know, the Israelites have been telling you this way before this Malcolm Nance guy. All right. So this is Malcolm, the brother here with the salt and pepper beard. And I didn't catch the name of his the Edomite female Get Woke t-shirt on. I didn't catch her name, but it's not important anyway. Let's let this play. We're probably gonna play about 4 minutes of this or so. All right. And before I do that, let me read one scripture. Back in 2nd Ezra 15 and 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And the modern day sword is an actual gun, but people will actually have swords, you know, like machetes and knives as well. It's going to get pretty bloody out here when this thing goes full blown.
In an effort to poison the mind of 1/3 of the electorate to attack and potentially kill another third of the electorate. If that sounds familiar, that's what Adolf Hitler did.
You want to make Antifa a terrorist organization.
They are.
Is it responsible for Charlie Kirk's killing, for the attempts on your life, for these CEOs that we saw in New York City? Is there something people need to understand?
You never know, and we'll find out maybe. But in the meantime, we're going to do a big thing with respect to Antifa. Antifa causes tremendous incitement, and the things they say and the things they do are horrible.
Malcolm, I can tell you there is nothing organized about the Democratic Party or any liberal I know, but apparently we're an organized terrorist group now. Beyond the jokes, this is really dangerous rhetoric, right? And it's on purpose before the No Kings rally, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And I wrote some tweets and comments, and I actually have a Substack coming out about this. This is without a doubt, we are at the point of danger now. This administration has convinced themselves, based on their own fantasies, wrapped within their heads, watching footage that's 5 and 10 years old, and have decided that Americans, I wrote a whole book about this, right? They want to kill Americans, that other American citizens now need to be designated as equal to a foreign terrorist group or armed vigilante gang or armed gangs in El Salvador, in an effort to poison the mind of 1/3 of the electorate to attack and potentially kill another third of the electorate. If that sounds familiar, that's what Adolf Hitler did. He won with 33% of the vote. He got the other 33% to join together to try to wipe out the democratically elected 33%. We are in a very, very, very dangerous place right now.
Well, I don't know what else you...
Let's pause it. This is Luke 12 and 49. I am come to send fire on earth, and what will I if it already be kindled? The fires are already burning, man. All right? Smoke from that boat that murdered those fishermen. All right? It's still going. Bombs are still flying all over the world. It's still hot in Ukraine, and it stays hot over in Western Asia. You know, that place that they fraudulently call the Middle East. They just, took Western Asia. That's where Asia touches, the western part of Asia, where it touches Africa. All right. Luke 12 and 51. Suppose ye that I will come to give peace on earth, I tell you nay, but rather division. For from henceforth there shall be 5 in an house, divided 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. So houses and families are divided. Same way they were violent during the fraud that was the C19 event. This is even worse. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, and mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother, and the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. So you're going to have Southerners and Northerners, left and right, liberals, everything in between. The people who believe in the alphabet lifestyle and the people who are completely against it. These people are about to go to war on one another. And if you voice your opinion against, the totalitarian regime that's in office, you get labeled a terrorist. You get labeled the T word. All right. And Antifa, which is, an idea that, I guess there isn't a secret organization behind it or no organization at all. But, the idea of it or what it represents, what it says it represents, is that it's just against totalitarian. They're against their totalitarian regimes. That's what the antonym kind of stands for, But if you're against totalitarian regimes, at this point, the regime that's in office is labeling you the T word. All right? And if you were in China, you'd be cut off already.
You call it when you're sending red state, troops into blue states without their permission.
Wow.
That feels inciting of a civil war or whatever you want to call it. When you openly say Insurrection Act,
Right.
And even a Trump judge says it has no relation to reality. What you're saying is happening in Portland or Chicago. It's a very dangerous.
Right. What they're saying is happening because Chicago is not as bad as they say it is, and neither is Portland. As a matter of fact, they were caught using images from other places in the world where there were real riots and things going on and putting it on the television and telling people that it was Portland. Complete and total lies. Crime was actually down in Chicago. Crime was worse in other places, even in some of the red states. All these shooters that go off and shoot up every goddamn body in schools and in churches and in Walmarts and shit. This all those are always in red states. What you need to do is go and collect up, stop all these crazy white males that keep shooting up shit. All right, when these ninjas in the hood, they shooting up each other. And according to the true numbers here in Chicago, they're doing that even less. Like they'll show you, they'll tell you, oh, we're gonna round up the dangerous criminals and we're gonna get them. And what they do, they rounding up people that are working on rules, guys that are actually at work, going inside of restaurants and raiding restaurants. I thought you were going after the gangbangers. You're going after the people that work. This is a racist, good old boy agenda from the red coming after the other people. And the crazy thing is, a lot of these people that are getting snatched up, many of them voted for the very people that's coming to get them. It's kind of like, well, you were told. All right, but the truth of the matter is, if you were told not to participate. Jake, this is not your fight. The Israelites have been telling you, man. Eventually, well, you know what? Y'all not gonna listen. It's just gonna be too late for the majority of you. But here we go.
You're absolutely right. It's a really dangerous spot.
Well, what we're seeing here is quite simple. It's military occupation. And he's sending forces from people who he thought from states that were supposed to be Trump supporting. Let me tell you something. These guardsmen go where they're ordered because that's their job for the weekend, right? So when they get...
No, the guardsman's job is to uphold the Constitution. Not that I give a damn. Let it all fall. I mean, we need for this to happen so that the Lord can do what he's going to do. But I'm just saying in general, these men's job, all right, these soldiers' job is to uphold the law of the land and arrest anybody and relieve from command anybody who's barking orders that go against the law of the land. That's their job, Malcolm.
Mobilized and activated, they'll go there. But with few exceptions, the force is 40 to 45% African American, Latino, and women. Yeah. And they're not going to go out and start shooting people. We haven't even seen any evidence of where they actually are other than doing support. It's ICE the secret police, the new American Gestapo. And I will call them that professionally, because what they are doing is the technical term in my manual that is used throughout the world, the Terrorist Recognition Handbook, is state terrorism, where all instruments of government and law enforcement and the intelligence apparatus carry out acts of terrorism in order to intimidate the entire nation into a state of fear. That's what ICE is doing.
Yeah. What do you call it? You quoted Obama. When you see the administration suggest that ordinary street crime is an insurrection or a terrorist act, that is a genuine effort to weaken how we have understood democracy. And George Conway said authoritarianism is a cancer and it's growing, metastasizing in America now. You are the cure. Do your part and join us on Saturday. Do it for your country, for the Constitution, for your freedoms while you still can. I mean, I don't know about you, Malcolm, but it's made me double and triple down on finding a No Kings rally to go to.
So, and that No Kings rally, as they played in the beginning, if you're going to support that, you're going to be considered an enemy of the state and an enemy of Trump. And he's clearly and obviously going after everyone that was against him during the Obama administration. All right? Everyone that was against him, he's going after. Okay? And she's saying she wants to go to these rallies. Who knows what's going to happen? You know? I imagine here in Chicago and some of these other places, there's going to be clashes. So, you know, and one thing's for sure, it may not go full blown, but this definitely is throwing logs on a fire that's already burning.
Them trying to bully and threaten us, right?
Let's
Absolutely.
take that back a little bit.
George Conway said authoritarianism is a cancer and it's growing, metastasizing in America now. You are the cure. Do your part and join us on Saturday. Do it for your country, for the Constitution, for your freedoms while you still can. I mean, I don't know about you, Malcolm, but it's made me double and triple down on finding a No Kings rally to go to. Them trying to bully and threaten us, right?
Absolutely. To everyone hearing the sound of my voice, here's where I'm going to go shouty. I know I was rather calm earlier. Every one of you who is listening had better do something this Saturday. And when I say something, I don't mean you don't have to go to one of the big rallies. Just put up a sign in front of your house. Just carry one.
Yeah, tell ICE where you are. Label yourself. All right? So people can take pictures of your house and so they can come after you later.
Down to do what I'm doing. I'm trying to get FAFOPAC, right? FAFOPAC.org. Go there and you'll see there is a link for you to go and do your own overpass takeover. Go to a highway overpass, dress in an inflatable Tyrannosaurus Rex or unicorn, bring a big blanket or sheets.
So, he's telling people to go protest, and protesting has gotten people absolutely nothing. Nothing. The only way changes come is when blood is spilled. That's why the Lord is coming back to spill a lot of blood. He said he's not coming back for peace, but with the sword. And he's going to have these people go at each other before he comes in the middle of the war. It's going to be a world war, and in the middle of the riots, race riots, class riots, downfall, utter dystopian-like lifestyle of things happening on the earth. All right, and in Babylon when the Lord returns. Isaiah 19:2. And I will set Egyptian against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So it's going to be fighting on the block. It's going to be fighting city versus city, and then nations are going to be fighting each other. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. So when all this is happening, America is broken. And with America is the Israelis cannot exist. Why you think that Trump is getting a backup plan to do this Venezuelan thing? He knows that the Israelis are going to get swallowed up over there in Western Asia. America's going to have too many of its own problems. It won't be able to support. And without American support, Israel cannot exist. And America will not be able to support Israel anymore. It's going to be too busy trying to fend off its own invaders at that time. And those people are going to get wiped off the face of the earth. And guess what? Same thing's going to happen here. I'm reading it. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. The government is going to fail and collapse and implode. All right? And it's already, because they're already doing things that are detrimental to their existence. So it's already collapsing. And they shall seek to their idols and to their charmers, and to them have familiar spirits and wizards. All right? So they're going to go back to all their witchcraft and enchantment, all their skull and bones stuff that they've done in the secret. They're going to just bring out in the open. All right? And it's not going to help them. All right? I'll read this last one. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord. A fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord, the Yahweh of hosts. That cruel Lord is Nero 47. And he's getting ready to unleash the hounds. So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rekahakwadas Kwam Yasharala Abab Abal. These are the last few days of normalcy. And the truth of the matter is, it's not normal. Shalom.